All right, great. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm super excited to talk with you. For everyone listening, my name is David Zappizzotti. I am the founder of Brain Flip Weight Loss. And at Brain Flip Weight Loss, our approach is very different from the conventional, typical approaches, which are based in managing struggle. Finding ways to like counting calories or tracking foods or steps or, portions or resisting stuff. Like all the recommendations that we get are based on trying to manage the struggle better. Whereas at Brain Flip Weight Loss, one of the things that's different is that we don't help you to manage the struggle better. We help you to reprogram your brain so the struggle doesn't exist and there's no longer anything to manage because you cannot manage something if that something no longer exists to be managed. And so when people go through this process, they don't they don't deal with the struggle of food addictions better. They become free of it so that there's no struggle. Michelle has done that. Michelle is one of our advanced clients in our program. She has already reprogrammed her brain to be free of all unhealthy food cravings, all issues around any kind of compulsive habits like overeating, snacking, things along those lines. And now she's in the final major phase where she is losing weight. And as weird as this is going to sound, she's losing it by systematically focusing on it less and less and focusing more and more on being the person she wants to be at the end of the journey rather than trying to get there. All right. So that's where Michelle is. Michelle, I'm very excited to talk with you. I'd like to ask you a few specific questions so that people listening to this will be able to relate. So first off, how old are you?
I am 61 years old.
61 years old. Okay. And then when you first joined this program, do you remember what your beginning weight was?
It was probably 250.
250. Okay.
Mhm.
And then do you know what your goal weight is that you decided on or that you're working on?
Yes, you and I decided 159 was my goal weight.
159. Okay. So it's
Mhm.
almost 100 pounds, like 91 pounds.
Right.
Okay. So 91-pound weight loss is what we're looking at. How tall are you?
5'4".
5'4". Okay. Um, when you first joined, I want to just ask you, what was your first perception of this coming in?
Well, I at that point was pretty desperate to lose weight. I've been I would be one of those women I would say who's been a professional dieter since I was 11 years old. I learned the ins and outs of so many diet programs and was a yo-yo dieter, had gone up and down and up and down, and I was just tired of the struggle. I was tired of feeling that food was controlling me, that my cravings were controlling me. I had gone in and out of binge eating through my life, although the years before I connected with you, I wasn't much of a binge eater, but I certainly had struggles with sugar throughout my life, and sometimes would get very caught up in sugar. And so I was kind of desperate. And when you and I talked initially, the way that you spoke about ending the struggle and the things that you said, even just in your introduction, they called to me at a very deep level. Something in me went, I think this is your answer, Michelle. I think this is what you've been really looking for. I've thought I was looking for the perfect diet all these years. Maybe I wasn't looking for the perfect diet. And so I felt very excited to explore with you.
Awesome, awesome. So let me drill down a little bit more specific, all right? What were you dealing with right at the time when you first joined Brain Flip Weight Loss? Like how often were you indulging in junk foods? Was overeating an issue for you as well, like with healthy foods, or was it more with unhealthy foods? What kind of like specific
Mhm.
challenges were dealing with right at that time in the beginning?
At that moment, I had a few years earlier successfully lost weight through participating in a diet program, a food plan program where I'd given up sugar and had been really diligent and had gotten my weight down to for me, what was a fairly somewhat healthy weight, not to my goal weight that you and I set. And
Mhm.
then when the pandemic hit and I had all sorts of people who had died in my life and I was in grief, I found myself just eating more and more. So I was comfort eating more often than I like. I was eating more sugar and more carbs, and I was probably overeating at most meals. I didn't always know when to stop eating. And so I had gained weight. I knew I had gained weight. My weight had gone up, and I was angry with myself, and I was frustrated, and I was feeling out of control with my ability to stop eating when I was full, or to not have that sugar if I was upset, or all of that good stuff. So I was very much caught up in that cycle of overeating and not eating things that I knew served my body.
Okay. So now, when you started in the first brain flip, and for everyone listening, just so you know, the first brain flip is what I mean by a brain flip is a reprogramming of your brain to become free of something. And so the first brain flip that we do in our program is cravings for unhealthy food desires, processed foods, fast foods, sugar, high salt, like depending on what it is, like it could be all different kinds of stuff. And then in that flip, we actually eat the foods in a way that reprograms our brain so that we become free of the addiction to it while we're in the act of eating it, as weird as that may sound. And so I know it's not weird for you now, Michelle, but how long did it take for you to go through that flip where you were like just completely free of all these challenges around unhealthy cravings? Do you remember
Time
what about how long it took?
Time is an interesting thing because my sense of it is that it was a pretty quick and remarkable shift. I was pretty surprised and shocked at the practices and techniques that you taught me that really helped me to feel like I just didn't have that urge anymore for those unhealthy foods. So it feels like it was pretty fast. It was pretty quick into putting these things into practice that I suddenly felt a balance with the cravings. And it really did surprise me in a pleasant way, combined with I was so motivated to end this struggle. And then you gave me such good practices to utilize. And it felt like the clouds parted, and I went, oh, I feel free and balanced and
What
um
was it like when you'd go down an aisle in the grocery store and you'd like see a junk food and just that like you would have wanted before and have no desire? Like what was that? Was that really strange for you in the beginning when that was first happening?
it was
Yeah,
and I would remark to my husband and my family like I don't even want that, or I could be in a family gathering where everyone else was indulging in something that I just had no desire for at all, and could find myself easily going, oh no, thank you, I don't want any of that.
yeah.
It was just very freeing. Freedom is the word that I would say was at the core of it. And to observe that in myself was a little bit strange at first, and now it's just normal for me.
No, now it's normal, right? Yeah, it's been a
Hmm.
while for you. You
Hmm.
refined quite a bit. So, all right, so let me ask you this. So the first flip, do you think it took like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Like what are we talking?
Two
Yeah,
weeks at the most,
two
probably.
weeks, so maybe
Couple
a
weeks.
week and a half
Hmm.
to 2 weeks. For
Yes.
everyone listening, the average length of time for the first brain flip to be free of all junk food cravings is 2 to 3 weeks. So
Hmm.
Michelle's a little bit, maybe slightly less than the low end of the average. Um, that's normal, just so everyone knows. Like a lot of people think, oh, I've struggled with this stuff for decades. I can't flip it in 2 weeks. It doesn't make a difference how long it's been a struggle. The length of time makes no difference for what we do. So we move on now to the overeating flip. That's the second brain flip.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
overeating, snacking. Were you snacking in between meals? Like what were your habits with all that kind of stuff?
No, I'm too busy to snack. I'm not much of a snacker in
Yeah.
between meals. Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was mostly at meals. So let
Hmm.
me ask you this. When you reprogrammed your brain around overeating, how much less were you eating at the end of that flip as compared to in the beginning? Was it like half, a third? What,
It's probably half.
about half? Okay.
Hmm.
Everyone listening, average is about half to a third. And the funny thing is that it's an average of a half to a third. People are eating a half to a third of what they were eating before, but they can't wait to eat less food.
Yes.
So yeah, like that's what happens in the reprogramming. Most people they eat less food in most diets and stuff, and then because they're told to restrict and they feel miserable. The way we reprogram it is for you to feel miserable until we let you restrict. So the way we do it, we're not actually eating more food than we would normally eat. we're reprogramming the brain for the amount that we do eat to feel bigger and bigger until
Hmm.
we want to eat less. So there's
Hmm.
a part of the programming where we drop the extra portion, and then a part where we stabilize the smaller. So it took you about a week, week and a half to, or a week and a half to 2 weeks to drop,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
then you were eating about a half of what you were eating before. Was that
Hmm.
surprising for you to be eating that much less? Or was the intensity of the reprogramming just made it normal by the end?
It was a little surprising, and I had a little food management that I worked on around. Uh, I'd say some people maybe experience the clean plate syndrome, and I discovered that I could either share my food with someone, or I could, oh yeah, I could take my food home if I was at a restaurant, or I could put it away, and oh, you can have that later. Was this concept that was almost like not in existence before in my brain, where I could see how normal people eat till they're full and then they stop and then they deal with what's left and eat it later. And that was a whole, wow, I can be like that. I don't have to clean my plate. I don't have to eat everything that's in front of me. I had a very clear message. I'm done. I'm done.
Awesome. For
Hmm.
everyone listening, a lot of times the compulsion to clean the plate is actually like, because when we think of compulsive eating, it's not just the actual eating part that has to be the compulsion. It could be the compulsion to cleaning a plate, which actually, if you look at what that really is, what it is it's giving more value to the cleaning of a plate than the health of the
Yes,
body, right?
exactly.
As
Uh-huh.
ridiculous as that might sound, that's actually what's happening, but we do it
Hmm.
because we're unconscious of us doing it, right?
Right. Hmm.
So you flipped all that stuff. All right. Now we went into the weight loss part. Now,
Hmm.
for everyone listening, once again, I want to just mention something really quick. In this program, in the Brain Flip weight loss program, we don't weigh ourselves along the journey. We weigh ourselves in the beginning to get a baseline weight. And then the next time we weigh ourselves is at the end when we think that we have reached our weight loss goal and we absolutely love the body that we're in and we have absolutely no fear whatsoever that we're going to gain the weight back. If there's
Hmm.
any fear of that, you're not there yet, even if you're actually at your weight, because we need to master the lighter identity along with the lighter body. They go
Hmm.
hand in hand, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
so we're looking at a 91-pound weight loss. So, and by the way, for everyone listening, once again, I just want to say this real quick, Michelle. The reason that we don't weigh during the process is because to weigh ourselves is to actually reinforce a heavy self-identity. We don't want
Right.
to do that. Because heavy people look on the scale to see if they're losing weight. The way that we lose the weight after we've reprogrammed the food struggles to be completely gone is to create a lighter identity around who it is that we want to be, and then also trick the physical part of the brain that it's light, that the body being light is safer than being heavy. And
Hmm.
then once the brain is programmed that being light is safer than being heavy, you can't stop yourself from being light. Like it's going to happen because to not be light is to be unsafe, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, Michelle, if you had to, I know you're not weighing yourself, but people like to hear numbers and stuff. If you had to kind of gauge around how much weight, like if you look at that, I know you don't focus on it in the program, but if you had to guesstimate, what do you think you're at?
I'm probably I would guess just by the way my clothes fit now, I would guess I've probably released 30 to 40 pounds at least.
30 to 40 pounds. Okay.
So maybe
Now,
close to halfway on my
yeah.
journey. Hmm.
Now, I know that me asking you that question, like, what do you think you weigh right now? Like, I
Hmm.
never ask those questions in coaching.
Hmm.
So it's
Right,
weird, right? But this is different
right.
because it's for an
Hmm.
audience. So let me ask you this. What does it feel like for you to have lost like 30 or 40 pounds? That's a significant amount, right?
Hmm.
To have done that without focusing on weight loss.
It's been very freeing and joy-filled because I think that that second flip, the dealing with some of those patterns and really getting into an identity of a lighter self has been the magic. It's such an illusion, like you said, that it's not about the food, it's about the deeper work. And so that work has created a lightness and freedom in me that is joy-filled and that is the reward, the true reward for doing the work.
How do you feel like that's changed things like actually in your life?
I feel more confident in
Yeah.
myself and all of my relationships. I feel more free just to show up for my life and not be so self-conscious about my clothing or how I look or how my body might be presenting itself because I am every day doing the work to continue to identify with that light body, to be that light body in action. So if I'm being that in action, part of that manifestation is I'm just showing up joyfully doing my life and being happy and connected with people and not ever really worried about how do they think I look too heavy or do they think I'm not worthy or whatever it might be. All of that just kind of falls away. And so I'm living that life now. I'm living my life in many ways as though I'm already at that 90 some pound loss and just know that the form is making its way there.
Do you have people in your life? This is all awesome. Thank you for sharing all this.
Mhm.
Do you have people in your life like talking of like mentioning like what are you doing? Like
What are you
how
doing?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
what are you doing?
people are noticing things are changing.
Yes, yes.
How do you deal with that? Is that okay? Like, are you comfortable with
It is
receiving that?
okay. It is okay. And it's more okay now than it was in my previous experiences with weight loss. I think because to do the dieting and to restrict myself there was an underlying energy of shame almost about it. Like, oh yeah, I've had to go on a diet and I've had to restrict myself and I've had to stop eat. This is a completely different feeling. It feels like joyful and celebratory because I am in this identity that is who I am and who I choose to be. And that's worth celebrating. So there's no shame in it. There's no, yeah, there's a completely different feeling. I
Yeah.
don't even know how I can speak the words to describe it. It's a
Well, let
complete,
me ask you this question because I think it'll address it. Is there anything that we do in brain flip weight loss that is unsustainable?
no, no,
Right.
no,
That would be the reason, right? Because I
right.
mean, the only way to actually, like, if we're going to genuinely get to the core of the issue,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be something that everyone can do,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
if it's in any way if it's any way unsustainable, then not everyone can do it,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for doing this. Do you have any last parting words that you want to share with everyone listening to this? Because there will be a lot of people hearing it. Anything you want to say to them?
I think that the key thing that the word there's a word you've said and we've said and pointed to throughout this conversation that is just a fundamental element, and it is the word identity. It's about building a new identity, and I think that the world has this backwards when it comes to weight loss and healthy bodies. We have it backwards. We force the form through processes and practices that aren't healthy and aren't loving and aren't kind to get it to be in a certain way. Whereas what you said in the very beginning, if you are doing the work at that deeper level to build a new identity of who you are and how you show up in the world and how you see yourself, then the form will follow.
Yeah. Well, perfect words in parting. Thank you so much, Michelle. Everyone, thank you for being here and hearing us share Michelle's story.